someone tell me if I harvested herbs, are they grow back or what? I'll be back.
Please, landing zone confirmed.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ.
We finished decoding the informant's report. That floating kid we've run into a few times now. Looks like he was a test subject in clinical experiments. The Soviets called him the Third Boy. The Third Boy was brought to a lab on the outskirts of Moscow from Czechoslovakia, after which he was due to be sent to a research center in Leningrad, then Siberia, and finally an academic town in Novosibirsk. It doesn't appear that the researchers witnessed the talents we've seen from him, but nevertheless, he was quite the popular subject. His latent cognitive abilities suddenly awoke en route to Moscow. According to the report, the Third Boy was easily influenced by other individuals' biofields. Evil thoughts, in particular. They affected his mind like a virus. Extreme anger or resentment, motives for revenge, in other words. Now, during the transport flight to Moscow, the boy was exposed to a powerful mental energy field coming from a certain individual. Ever since, being conscious of his powers, he's become a sort of energy generator. What's unique about him is the way his acute telepathic abilities get taken over by another person's will. The boy began to physically parasitize individuals experiencing extreme anger and codify the host's desires. This includes amplifying the host's natural strengths. Or, in accordance with the host's desires, he can also implant program code in another individual, making them a puppet, essentially. Human neural synapses transmit weak electrical currents between neurons. These electrical currents, though at a level difficult to observe, warp the magnetic field outside the body. The Third Boy is able to pick up these weak fluctuations. Contrary to psychotronics, which involves controlling the human mind, his abilities as a receptor are too high. The emotions he picks up from another individual are amplified and unleashed into his body as they recur in his brain. They turn into microwaves, which then affect the physical world, triggering paranormal phenomena like the spontaneous combustion of organic matter or psychokinesis, moving an object without touching. There's one other thing. While he's parasitizing a host, the boy's ego gets shut away, allowing the will of the host to take control of his powers, like some annoying static drowning out your own voice. That means he isn't responsible for what's been happening. Somebody's extreme anger has manifested through the third boy's powers in ways none of us could have predicted, which would mean this was going on somewhere around us. Looking back on it, a lot of things make sense now. The man on fire, Sahelanthropus, they both came to life thanks to the third boy's powers. Everything has been happening through him as a catalyst. We first saw him in the hospital on Cyprus. The boy parasitizing the man on fire's desire for revenge gave him his new abilities in return. He next appeared at the Hamid Fighters Fort where the honeybee was hidden. There, the boy parasitized Skullface's vengeful mind. He controlled Sahelanthropus, making it do whatever Skullface wanted. Same goes for when we extracted Emmerich onto the chopper. When he appeared at the Devil's House in Central Africa, Skullface's will controlled the man on fire via the third boy's powers. Everything is clear up to this point. But even the informant couldn't pinpoint who the host was in the cave within Serac power plant. Sahelanthropus suddenly became active, then crushed not only the man on fire, but Skullface as well. Surely neither of them could have been the host. Who else was at that location and bore anger more extreme than either of them? Whose will was controlling Sahelanthropus? According to the report, emotions transmitted in children's brains affect the surrounding magnetic field more strongly. Cerebral nerves are covered with insulation called myelin sheaths to increase impulse speed. The reason for this leakage has to do with the fact that children's myelin sheaths are still developing. So, how many children do you remember being there? Children with a burning desire for revenge and bearing a grudge against you. I can think of only one. Eli. We don't know what kind of life he's had, but the resentment he's shown toward adults is nothing short of extraordinary. The third boy resonated with Eli's mind. And that means Eli bore the strongest animosity of all individuals within the boy's reception range, estimated to be a 3-mile radius, beating out even Volgan and Skullface. The third boy has probably remained hooked on Eli's anger since. You remember at the Devil's House, the third boy showed an interest in Shabani? That must have been his ego making a rare appearance.
You're alive.
He may possess abilities far beyond anyone else in the world,
a ти си
but he's
съдружил.
still a kid. Maybe them both being kids was enough to bring them together. And if so, maybe with Eli, he isn't feeding off him, but acting in symbiosis with him. So what kick-started the third boy's powers? If we look at the location and time that his plane went down, we can make a pretty good guess. When the plane experienced the first anomaly, it gave an accurate report of its position to a control tower, due north of the Black Sea, 125 miles east of Kiev. Dead south on the Black Sea is Cyprus's Green Line. So the plane's position was directly north of the hospital where you'd been asleep for 9 years. And this anomaly was reported at exactly the same time that you woke up. The plane was enveloped in flame from the inside out. The fuselage burnt to ashes. There were no survivors, at least not publicly admitted. Your thoughts formed as...
The CFA are gearing up for a large-scale attack against Angola's MPLA government. They're assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport and will be ready to move soon. We've been contracted by the MPLA to put a stop to them. But the civil war will keep burning on, whether we accept this job or not. Another East-West proxy war with the communist MPLA on one side and the capitalist-funded CFA on the other. An endless seesaw of blood and violence played out in the hands of the superpowers. I had my doubts at first, but I think we should take this job. Skullface is gone, but Cypher still remains. Competition with rival PFs will only get more intense. For us to survive, we need to expand our organization and get strong enough that no one can threaten us. So our only option is to fight and grow, and fight and grow. The CFA are gearing up for a large-scale attack against Angola's MPLA government. They're assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport and will be ready to move soon. We've been contracted by the MPLA to put a stop to them. But the civil war will keep burning on, whether we accept this job or not. Another East-West proxy war with the communist MPLA on one side and the capitalist-funded CFA on the other. An endless seesaw of blood and violence played out in the hands of the superpowers. I had my doubts at first, but I think we should take this job. Skullface is gone, but Cypher still remains. Competition with rival PFs will only get more intense. For us to survive, we need to expand our organization and get strong enough that no one can threaten us. So our only option is to fight and grow, and fight and grow.
Come on.
Clouds approaching. Please specify a project. Development can clouds approaching. Please select a mission.
Feeling hungry, old timer?
Please select a mission.
Old timer. I do not get hungry. No. But you have a new hamburger?
You guessed it. And this time we used lamb.
Lamb.
You're not a lamb kind of guy?
A hamburger is made of beef.
Development complete.
high-ranking CFA official in charge of supplying weapons to UNITA. The target stays at Nova Braga Airport. Head to the airport first. You, it'll give you a lead hello.
Be careful down there, boss.
Please select a deployment point. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. Move to the right of your destination.
Great, you made it. I've sent the information to your map screen. That's the target's predicted location. Check all around the target and plan carefully before moving in.
Has infiltrated. The map has been updated. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Whoa.
We've just received word that the arms dealer due to inspect Nova Braga Airport is on his way. Once his chopper has arrived, they'll be touring the facilities along with the target. Let him bring the target out into your line of fire.
Where are your friends?
The map has been updated.
That's an enemy gunship. Don't try to take down a gunship. The chopper will be arriving any minute. Watch out.
Analysis complete.
There's a chopper landing. It must be carrying the arms dealer. Keep your eyes on him. Our intel suggests the target will leave the country with the arms dealer after the inspection. Take him out before that happens. That must be the arms dealer. His next move will be to meet the target.
Analysis complete.
Looks like the arms dealer's chopper is gonna patrol for the security forces. Be sure you don't get spotted from above.
versoek van die president. Dis 'n voorreg, meneer. Ons skuld al ons sukses in Sentraal-Afrika aan die SANR. Die Mufinde Olieveld-voorval was regtig 'n skande.
Skande is korrek. Nou het 'n klomp huursoldaat-honde van ons te hore gekom. Spooke van 'n dooie era.
Meneer, ek het gehoor dat 'n man by die Olieveld die Big Boss was. Die legendariese huursoldaat. Iemand het my vertel dat ons teen iemand soos hy te staan sal kom. Ons kontrak het slegs gespesifiseer dat ons die fasiliteit moet beskerm teen plaaslike bevolking en militante faksies. Beskerming teen PF's gerig met moderne tegnologie is 'n heel ander affære.
Ek het genoeg hoor. Vereers het ons 'n inspeksie om af te haal. Wys my die plek.
Begryp. Kom ons begin by die suidelike hek. Stap die kant toe.
That guy talking with the arms dealer. Could he be the target?
Analysis for the map has
There,
mission
that's the
info
target.
has been updated. Caution, rain approaching. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete.
Dit is die suidelike hek. Die dak het al beter dae gesien, maar ons gaan dit regmaak in 'n japtrap.
Baie ruimte. Dis goed. Dis die noordelike henger so groot soos die een.
Ja, hulle is dieselfde ontwerp. Dis 'n bietjie ver om te loop. Kom ons vat die kar.
Beslis.
Dis net daar.
momentarily.
Hierdie is die noordelike hangar.
Dieselfde grootte. Dit sal fyn wees. Ons het al die ruimte hier wat ons nodig het.
Waarvoor het meneer sulke groot hangars nodig? Is dit nie hoogtyd dat ek weet nie?
Sekerlik, kom nie. Jy en jou manne sal 'n deurslaggewende rol speel vir die volgende fase. Ons gaan die lughawe gebruik as afsetpunt vir die verkoop van nukes.
Verkoop van nukes. Jy's
Dis wat ons doen. Natuurlik is die verspreiding van kernwapens 'n kopsie, maar wat as jy 'n atoombom op enige plek kan bou sonder spesialisfasiliteit, sonder hoëgraad uraan? Dis die nuwe sakemodel. Dink net aan die markandeel wat ons kan betrek.
meneer is nie ernstig nie.
Ek is altyd ernstig. Jou verkoopsroetes gaan onvervangbaar wees. En om te dink, as jy nie 'n nukes het, sal die MPLA ook wil kry. Betaling sal uiteindelik groter mynregte wees en dies meer. Maar sedert die oliebaronne Amerika se spoorwegstelsels verlam het, sal daar altyd 'n mark vir olie wees. Benite se diamante sal nogal 'n lekker payday wees. 'n Meisie se beste vriend natuurlik. Dis PA vir jou. Elke sakker se skrouende girlfriend is deel van ons bemarkingsplan. En die Afrikaner mors net al geld, koop wapens om mekaar uit te moer. Die regte wêreld. Dag snaaks, nee my broer.
Vertel dit vir wie ook al my vervang. Ons is oorlogmakers. Ek erken dit. Ons maak 'n lewe met bloedgeld. Sonder oorlog is my manne werkloos. Dis ons enigste uitweg, want alle ander industrie is uit die streek verdryf met koloniale magte wat muntslaan. Dis omtrent al wat ek kan hanteer.
Toe gaan die jakkals.
Het jy genoeg gesien? Dra die ondersoek verby is, moet jy my Kinshasa toe vat, soos ons saam gestem het.
So jy wil die kans verspeel, die grootste besigheidskans wat ooit jou kant toe gekom het. Swem met my. Niemand sal wel jou plek oorneem. Maak nie saak wat ek of jy doen nie. Die getuie van die ekonomie sal sy gang gaan. Nie terwyl die groot moondhede stry oor al die rykdom.
Die beheertoring is die kant.
They feed off the conflict and turn around and blame the colonial governments? Now that's hypocrisy. Skullface must have lost his mind.
Analysis complete.
The enemy chopper is heading over to pick them up. Take out the target before it gets there.
Ek het amper vergeet om te vra. Ek hoor daar's 'n siekte in die omgang by Wale Yamasa.
Ja, baie vreemde siekte. Maar die streek was nietig. Skrif is hulle ook aan ons kant. Maar eintlik was die Gunsmith die ou wat alles gehandel het. Maar hulle almal gesterf. Nou is die gebied so beset deur 'n klomp van die vuil goed wat die Gunsmith bymekaar geskraap het. Blykbaar word hulle nie siek. Kom vra jy.
Net nuuskierig.
Ek sien. Kyk. Nie my bullshit nie. Jy weet iets. Dit het iets te maak met die eksperimente wat julle mense gedoen het by Zoyambadiobulu. Nie waar nie. Selfs ons gaan dit vasstel.
Te veel te weet en kwaadaardige gevolge vir jou gesondheid. Jy waai in elk geval uit af. Al lewe luks met die pennies wat jy gespaar het, wapen verkoop. Koel af en vergeet van die warmte. Kom ons waai, die helikopter is op pad.
They know something about the experiments going on in that factory. Well, there's no time now. Act now or the target will leave the airport. Boss, the target is going to get away. Hurry up and take him out. Target got into the chopper. You've got no choice now. Shoot it down. Get the hell in here. That should enable you to sneak past enemies.
Analysis complete.
Once the arms dealer is met up with the target, they'll be touring the airport for an inspection. Do you see anyone who looks like they're inspecting the place? Look all around.
Vamos. Vamos, u pizdu materinu. Sve to blesovo dosadno.
Complete. Development complete.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Mission complete. Great work.
Please specify a project. Please specify a project.
Pa ne znam, ne u suvi, sad je bilo to. Jajče.